Alright then guys, we are making spaghetti bolognese, and the first thing we're going to do is prep our ingredients. I have my chopped tomatoes here, my Italian herbs, got my mushrooms, my onion, my garlic and my minced beef. I'm using beef, well, steak mince. You can use chicken mince, turkey mince, lamb mince, whichever kind of mince, or even corn mince, depending on what your preference is. So first things first, we're going to chop up an onion, and I use a serrated knife to do this, just because I find it a little bit easier to get through than using a straight edged knife. Now what I do is I leave this end on, okay, and then slice it down the middle, and then this kind of prevents it from making you cry. So I'm gonna just do some nice little slices. I dice my onions. If you don't mind having the whole onion pieces, then you can just slice them if you'd like. I always find that it does this when I'm cutting it up, so don't worry about it. Get as much of that onion as you can. I'm just going to toss that over to one side, out of the way. Let's get this other. I'm actually going to peel that layer off because it's a bit wilted. And again, just slice down like this. And then slice across. And remember to keep your fingers out of the way at all times, because we don't want any accidents. There we go, that is our onion all sliced up and ready to go. Just whack that in a little bowl. Done. Onion is chopped nicely. We'll just set that over to one side. Now for the garlic, we're going to peel off the skin, and to help with that, what I do is I get the flat end, the flat of the blade, and then with the heel of your palm just press down on the clove, and then that should, she says, enable you to get the skin off a bit easier. There we go. Just finding that weak point to be able to get the skin off. Now, if you have a garlic crusher, that's great. If not, don't worry. What we can do is we can finely slice the garlic. Now we take the top and tail it, so we take that bit off, and we take that other, where are we there? Take that bit off. And then what we can do is, if we just slice it very finely, very fine, and then we'll go the other way as well with that. And what you can do, I mean, if you're feeling a bit fancy, is do the whole, what chefs do. You're better off doing that with a curved blade rather than a straight blade. And then I'm just going to pop that over to one side rather than in a bowl. And then I'm going to be using three and a bit cloves. So again, the flat of the blade, heel, just bash it down, and then peel the skin off. I'm going to top and tail again, and then finely slice. Again, being very careful that we don't cut our fingers. And then I'm just going to rock the blade back and forth over that bit of garlic in there. Get it cut up nice and small as we can. Now, what I love about cooking with fresh garlic is that my hands smell like garlic for ages afterwards. Doesn't matter how much I wash them, because of the oil that's in the garlic. It seeps into your pores. It's really good. So again, we're just going to peel off that skin from the clove. Top and tail. And again, just get rid of those bits over there. And then again, we're going to just finely slice. Again, being mindful not to get our fingers. Just make sure we get that nice and small. And then just push that over to one side. Oh, we've got a nice big bit there. Just get that. That's a bit better. All right, now with the mushrooms, you can get the little ones to help you with this. If you want to use a butter knife, they're just as effective for cutting up mushrooms. You know, you can cut them any which way you like. Doesn't have to be pretty. Just, you know, get them all cut up so they're relatively even sized pieces. So then that way they will all cook at around about the same rate. Now I'm going to set that to one. That was just to demonstrate that you can use that. I mean, there we go. Slice those up nicely. Now the mushrooms are going to be added in fairly late because they don't take very long to cook. There we go. Lovely stuff. That's our mushrooms all cut up. Do you know what? I'm going to transfer these into a bowl. And think about mushrooms, it looks like there's a lot there, but once they're cooked, they reduce down to pretty much nothing because they're mostly water, so they'll sweat off a lot of it. You know what? And we'll put that garlic in. I think it might make it a little bit easier when we go for the transfer to the pan. Okie dokie. And what we're also going to do, we're just going to open our meat. Now that we've done all of the veg prep, we can open our meat with one of those knives. I have got 500 grams here, so you know, you kind of use as much as you would normally use for your family. And that, you know, varies from person to person. So just a beef stock cube. Doesn't have to be OXO, it can be any particular brand you like. And then we're going to get our vegetable oil or sunflower oil, it doesn't matter which. If you want to use olive oil, that's fine too. We're just going to put a dollop in there, and then we're going to turn on our heat. Now we want it quite high to begin with, just to get the heat flowing. And now that our oil is nicely warmed up there, we're just gonna, we're gonna toss in those onions and the garlic. And just make sure that we get all of that garlic out. We don't want to miss any. And that sizzle is just perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to soften these. That's starting to brown nicely there. The onions are starting to caramelise. The onions have natural sugars in them, you see, so that's what helps them get that nice brown colouring to them. You don't need to add sugar, they already have it in them. Bring that heat down a bit to medium. Like I said, we don't want this to burn. This is where we add our mince meat. I have washed my hands before picking this meat up, and I will wash my hands afterwards, of course. Sprinkle that in there. There we go. Lovely. And then what we want to do is we want to brown up this meat. At this point, I would then get a pan of water and put that on to boil to get ready for your pasta. Whichever pasta you want to use, it doesn't have to be spaghetti, it can be fusilli penne, the bow pasta, I can't remember what that one's called, farfalle I think, whichever pasta you want to use. I will be using spaghetti today because that is what we like spaghetti bolognese, but as I said, it doesn't have to be spaghetti, it can be any kind of pasta. Now that the majority of that mince is nice and browned, this is the point at which I will add the stock cube. And what I do, I just take it out of its foil and then crumble it. Oh, it's a sticky one. Perhaps I won't be able to crumble this one. Stick it in the liquidy bits. And then what you can do is if you add just a touch of water, just to help that stock to dissolve. If you have the stock pots, they work just as well for this. You could also add some Worcestershire sauce to it if you so wish. You could even add some peas, some frozen veg. It's very versatile, whatever you've got really, if you want to add it in. I quite like adding a bit of sweet corn and some peppers, but I mean we're sticking to a nice basic recipe today. So and it's at this point now that I'm going to add the mushrooms. Pop those in. And then they will go down to pretty much nothing. Again, being careful not to prick your fingers. You could also add some tomato puree if you so wished. Or a carton of passata. I mean, I don't think my pan is going to be able to accept much else. But what I do like to do, even though we've got a little stock cube in there, I like to add myself a little bit of Bisto. I find that it just adds that depth of richness to it, and it also kind of thickens the sauce a little. That is entirely optional and entirely up to you if you want to add that. You could equally use vegetable gravy for the vegetarians amongst you. And there you have it, folks. Spaghetti Bolognese. Well, let's just bring that temperature down again. Keep it simmering. And at this point, you can add a touch of salt and pepper to your tastes. Smidge of salt. And there you have it, folks. Lovely spaghetti bolognese.